It was a special night in Brussels for Newcastle United as they recorded their biggest ever win in the Champions League with a 4-0 victory away against Union Saint-Gilloise at the Lotto Park Stadium. A brace of penalties for winger Anthony Gordon, sandwiched in amongst goals for Nick Voltemade and Harvey Barnes, who came off the substitutes bench, rounded off what was a near-perfect night for Newcastle United in Europe. As mentioned, it was their biggest ever win in the Champions League, but of course in the Premier League away from home, they're yet to score a goal, never mind win away from St James's Park, and therefore they will hope that this result will be the catalyst for the rest of their season, both domestically and in Europe. Next up, they face Nottingham Forest at St James's Park, hoping to get another win in the top flight. But let's go back to the Lotto Park Stadium to see exactly how Newcastle United kick-started their league phase in this season's Champions League campaign. The setting for the fixture of Lotto Park in Brussels is, of course, the home of USG's rivals and elect. Eddie Howe and his side arrived on the evening knowing that they needed to get a good result to make sure that they were not cut too far adrift in the Champions League phase. And they got off to a great start when Sandro Tonali's shot was flicked into the net by Nick Voltemade to open the scoring. And soon it was 2 when Anthony Gordon dispatched a penalty after fellow winger Anthony Elanga had been brought down in the box just before the half-time whistle, with the Magpies going into the break much the happier of the two. And despite some flurries forward from USG at the start of the second period, Newcastle raced into a 3-goal lead, Anthony Gordon managing to put away another penalty, this time because of a handball in the USG box. But the Magpies weren't done yet though. Harvey Barnes got their 4th goal, finishing off a counter-attack after good work from Anthony Gordon and then William Asula. Eddie Howe was pleased after the full-time whistle and gave huge praise to Nick Voltemade.
Yeah, hopefully it helps us when we return to the Premier League, because we've been waiting for a performance like that, really, where, as I said, we looked like we could score at any moment. It wasn't, a perfect performance. There's things we can improve, but it was a big step in the right direction and an important stage as well in the Champions League, because, as I've said before, we have to start well. These competitions are so high, the demands are so big on us that if we're slow starters, we could leave ourselves too much to do. So I certainly leave here, I think, in a lot healthier, positive frame of mind, and looking forward to the next game.
The goal for Newcastle's German striker was his 3rd in black and white in just 4 starts for the club.
Yeah, I thought he performed really well today. I think, as always with Nick, since I've obviously learning about his game all the time, like everyone else is, like the players are, because we've had very limited training time. I think you can see his link-up play is such a big part of what he does, and I think it was excellent today. A lot of times he's the pass before the wingers receive the ball, and so sort of almost their involvement is reliant on his ability to play that pass. So I think you saw the 2 Anthonys get a lot of ball because of him, and of course the team. And I thought they both played well and were a constant threat in the match. And he's going to need crosses to score. That'll be one major source of his goals. I'm not so sure he'll score many like he did today, if that's credited to him, but I'm pleased he's got it, because that will just help him feel even more embedded into our team.
There was also praise for Newcastle's defensive unit after the full-time whistle, and in particular, German Malik Chow, who is starting to form quite the partnership with now fully fit Sven Botman, who has come back into the side. Of course, Newcastle will be without Tino Livramento in the full-back areas for around 6 to 8 weeks. Dan Burn, though, came in and did a good job at left-back, with Kieran Trippier covering in the right-back position. As mentioned before, Newcastle go into their next game now against Nottingham Forest at St James's Park full of confidence, knowing that they finally have the ability to score goals, something that has been a real point of concern so far this season. They will certainly now hope to put Forest to the sword on Tyneside.